What's up, everyone? Welcome to Week 13's Boomer Bust Show. Get your start sit questions in here. We've got probably most leagues 2 weeks. Some leagues will start next week, but they shouldn't. I think 2 weeks left of regular season fantasy football. Next week's the last week of bye weeks. I had one league that had the playoffs starting next week, and he had to change that because I don't think they had a Week 14 bye last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I think they added that.
I can't remember. I know the Scott Fish Bowl playoffs started last week, but the way he does it, not that I'm in it this year, but the way he does it is he takes your average score throughout the season. So you have to have a certain threshold each week so that you don't get killed by the bye weeks when you hit the playoffs. I think the leagues I run, 15, 16, 17 are my fantasy playoffs. So we got a couple more. Just before we get rolling here, Bryce, we got some questions already. I just wanted to shout out Rick Butts, the founder of Roto Heat. Today's his birthday. Happy birthday to Rick if he has got nothing better to do than watch us two clowns this morning. But, if you're a member of our Facebook group, if you're a member of our Discord community, if you come to this chat, none of that's possible without Rick Butts. So just wanted to say happy birthday to him and thanks very much. And back to you, brother. Let's go.
Yeah, thank you. 40 today, right? Is that,
yeah, still a young man, but 40 big 40 for him. So you betcha.
Yeah, that's always a fun one. I hope he's doing something better than watching us. If not, maybe he's just getting his morning started, wanted to pop up, see our faces. I can't blame him.
I can't blame him, right?
It's I woke up not too long ago. I stayed up way later than I normally do yesterday. So
I fell asleep on the couch. I'm an old man, dude.
Yeah, I was watching Lost. So.
Oh, that's a good show.
Yeah. All right. So Cody starts it off. He's always in here early, which is nice. Smart for him to get his questions in here before the crowd gets in here. Think about playing Debo over Jennings with this bad weather and Purdy coming back with the shoulder. Good or bad move? So because we're kind of both on the same page. If we're starting Juwan Jennings over Debo, as long as Brock Purdy is the quarterback, does the weather play a factor in potentially choosing Jennings or Debo over Jennings this week for you? That's Buffalo, right?
It is, and it's snowing, right? So it is looking like it's a little bit frigid and ugly there. I'm just looking at my rankings. I don't even know where I have Debo ranked this week. He's well down there. So I struggle with this one because I totally get the question. You would think in this kind of inclement weather, stuff around the line of scrimmage is probably more likely than a little bit deeper down the field. I'm just trying to look at the weather too. I don't know. The wind is going to be a big piece of this. I just want to try to stay away from the Niners altogether, to be totally honest with you. So if I had an option other than Debo or Jennings, which you probably don't, I would lean to that, but I'm sticking with Jennings here. Debo's really been struggling as of late. And Jennings looks to be Purdy's guy. Like anytime we've had any key pieces of that offense missing, whether it was Kittle, whether it's Ayuk, whether it was Debo, Jennings is the guy that's just stepped up. So I understand the question. I don't feel good about it, but I would roll with Jennings. What would you do?
Yeah, I did see. I was looking at the weather for Buffalo. They're going to maybe get a few snow flurries throughout the day, but it's done with the heavy snow, so they probably will have that field pretty cleaned up. I'm
looking now. It's a 9 mile an hour wind, so that's nothing to really worry about either.
I saw a high of 15 mile per hour wind. That's not very high. And who knows if that, with a stadium and things like that, it's probably less on the field. So that's probably not a big deal. I think the weather for that game is probably getting blown out of proportion because if the game was played yesterday, I would say Debo, just because I don't know how many times they could throw the ball, but the game's being played today. They're going to have that field cleaned up. Not going to be a lot of snow on the actual field itself. So I will go with Jennings over Debo as well. So good morning, PP at Mark, always in here. What's up, dude?
Hey, Mark.
I wish this was spelled. Oh, okay. Here, he does have some stuff spelled wrong.
Good.
PPR, I need one quarterback.
Stay on brand, brother. Stay on brand.
No, he's not. No, he spelled them right. Winston and Richardson or Cousins. Winston, Richardson, or Cousins. Juwan Jennings or Calvin Ridley. Thanks again. Happy Thanksgiving.
The wide receiver one's tough. The quarterback one, I'm going to be on Anthony Richardson. I just think he's his legs give him the up on both of these guys this week. Winston's got a real tough matchup. I can't remember who the heck the Browns play.
He does. He has the Jets. No, it's not the Jets today, is it? It might be the Jets.
No, it's Denver. So that's
Denver,
not great.
Yeah.
And that is, I think that's tomorrow, actually. I don't love that. Cousins has been very erratic. And he has the Chargers defense, which is not exactly terrible. I don't think that's a real deterrent for him, but I just like Anthony Richardson's ability to run the ball. He's playing New England, and I know you guys have been playing okay defense. You could probably speak to this better than I can, but I don't think quarterbacks are really suffering from playing the Patriots this season. So I'll be on Richardson. He seems like he's gotten a little bit better since his pause, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah, I have no problem benching Richardson over quarterbacks of this caliber. The problem is I don't really like their matchups enough to bench him because of his rushing upside. I'm avoiding every single Colts wide receiver like the plague today. The only guys worth starting for me are Richardson and Jonathan Taylor, and neither of those guys I'm super confident about. I mean, I benched Jonathan Taylor in one. I have the luxury of being able to bench him in one league because I've got like David Montgomery as my other option. That's kind of how I feel about this Colts offense. I don't think Anthony Richardson's a very good quarterback. I didn't like him coming out of college. But when he is on the field, he is a good fantasy threat to put up 25 plus. That's the thing with these guys that are mobile quarterbacks, especially a guy that likes to get in the end zone when they get down there. So
yeah, we talked about it. I think last week is you don't have to be a good NFL quarterback to be a good fantasy quarterback. We see it all the time, right? And that's exactly
Daniel Jones was like that for a while.
Right. Like if I had to win a football game, I'd be starting Kirk Cousins. But if I wanted to win my fantasy matchup, I'm probably starting Anthony Richardson. How about the wide receiver aspect of this? What do you think?
Who do the Calvin Ridley's got the Commanders today, which I'm going to go with Calvin Ridley here. I just feel like they're going to have to throw. I think the Commanders are kind of putting themselves in a lot of must-win situations. I think their offense could go nuclear these next few weeks, which helps against opposing teams when you got wide receivers and quarterbacks playing on that. There's potential for garbage time. There's just potential they have to keep up. And really, Calvin Ridley's the only guy they can throw the ball to. Nick Westbrook, seems like he always finds the end zone. Somebody mentioned
just
that
last week. Just one catch for whatever and a touchdown, right?
So like that guy, they got to air it out is what we're seeing, and Calvin Ridley's going to be the main target. So I just see him getting a solid 10 targets today. Where Juwan Jennings, I don't know if he sees that many.
I'm with you. I have Ridley a few spots higher than Jennings, and I know we just kind of downplayed the weather, but the reality is the San Francisco-based football team playing in that weather, whether it's snowing or not, just the temperature itself is probably going to be a little uncomfortable for all involved. And Ian Rappaport, I was watching a clip this morning before we came on. The Commanders have basically told Daniels to let it rip, quote unquote. So they want him to take shots down the field. So to your point, if the Commanders start putting up 28, 35, 40 points, the only way Tennessee has a chance of hanging in there is to try to let it rip with them. So Calvin Ridley's been solid since Hopkins went to Kansas City. So I'm on Ridley.
Yep. Mark's back. I'm back. Different league. Need 2 flex. Darnell Mooney. Here we go.
What the hell's that?
Chris Autumn.
Otten?
It could be Otten. Yeah, okay, hold on. It's a flex, and he's got 2 tight ends back-to-back here. It's got to be Otten and TJ Hawkinson. So Darnell Mooney, Cade Otten, and TJ Hawkinson. That's what I like to see, Chris.
Yeah, I like Darnell Mooney. I know he's coming back from injury, but I think he's the play here.
And Will Dissly. I just thought that said Will Disney. Will Dissly is another one.
Disney again.
3 good tight end options.
Too bad he doesn't have your pick of the season, Amir Abdullah, on the list here, although Abdullah already played. He made me look foolish last week with that one.
Yes. He didn't do anything this week, I don't think, though.
No, Sincere McCormick. Who I was forced to start in one league, actually got me 8.5 points, and I was freaking thrilled. So love that.
Roadrunner. He played for UTSA or something like that. He's a Roadrunner.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah, that's amazing that you know that. I didn't even know who
I had him in a Debbie league.
McCormick is.
I had him in a Debbie league. That's why.
Sinceres. I've never seen that as a name either. So I'm on Mooney here, and if I wasn't on Mooney because I'm a little worried about him coming back from injury, which I'm not, I'd be on Hawkinson.
Yeah, if this was tied in premium, I might lean Hawkinson here, but if it's not, even if it is, it's really close with him and Mooney. So I will stick with Darnell Mooney. The Falcons got the Chargers today, which is a little bit of a tough matchup. And Darnell Mooney, I feel like when they're tougher matchups, the number 2 receiver get a little bit better of an opportunity. So we could see that for Darnell Mooney today.
Yeah, he's the 1A or the 1B, however you want to call it, to London. Like Kurt likes him. So,
yep.
But I think this is Hawkinson's home debut, if I'm correct. I might be wrong on that, and if it is, that could be a good day for him too. But I like Mooney. I like Mooney there.
They are starting to spread the ball out more there in Minnesota, which is
they have to, right? Because teams have been taking JJ away. Addison stepped up, and we almost
did they win last week? Did they win?
Yeah, we won overtime over the Bears. We kind of gave it away and then came back, but
yeah, Bears have been looking actually pretty good lately. Even though,
what a shit show on Thursday.
Yeah, that had to be. I don't understand. I get that Matt Eberflus is partial to blame for that, but
what's Caleb doing?
You do need to run a hurry up there. You need to run a play. What is Caleb Williams doing? That looks like Caleb Williams' fault to me.
So Eberflus 100% has to call the timeout there, but Caleb needs to recognize what the hell's going on and call the timeout himself if he had to. I guess he couldn't have spiked it. I think it was couldn't.
No, that's why I think Eberflus couldn't call the timeout. It was 3rd down. So he's like, run a play, and then I don't know what was going on. I thought that
you can't spike it on 3rd. Well, you could spike it on 3rd to go to 4th, which is not wise, but you could still call a timeout.
Yeah. Well, but the thing is, if you call the timeout, are you close enough to field goal? Are you comfortably? They were pretty far back, so it's like I feel like they wanted to maybe get 5 or 6 yards, and all they had to do was try and run some sort of slant, a QB draw. I really thought a QB draw was going to be called there, and then you call the timeout, and then you run their field goal and get it out. But
anything would have been better than waiting 16 seconds to snap the ball.
That looked like more of Caleb Williams' fault to me. I mean, Matt Eberflus could have probably saved himself by like having some emotion. He just stood there and watched it.
That's why he's been for 3 seasons, and that's why he doesn't have a job. I can't believe it. But anyway, that's a whole other show.
What a strange. But I tried to get good.
I tried to get Rick to come on with us today, and that's probably why he didn't, because he didn't want to talk about that shit. So
yeah, I know. Here in Ohio, I'm a Buckeyes fan, I guess, but it's like
did they lose to Michigan?
Oh yeah,
I didn't even see it.
And I'm not big enough fan where it bothers me. Like, I don't care that much.
How's Kidder doing today? Has anybody checked on him?
Dude, people on Facebook are hilarious. Facebook after a Buckeyes loss, especially to Michigan it is so fun. Everyone's calling for Ryan Day's job, which I've been calling for that 2 years ago. I told him that he's not a good coach. I don't think he gets players to play for him. That's the problem. Which is probably what Matt Eberflus' situation too. I don't know if he gets players to play for him. So
he's finished.
Yeah, went to Alabama. He's already coaching at Alabama.
Meanwhile, Kevin's like, "Hello, my question."
Need one running back, one wide receiver, one flex from the following: Flowers, Hall, Thomas Jr., Connor, Marvin. Have BTJ and Marvin on the bench right now, but they have the easier matchup. So he's got Flowers, Hall, and Connor in. Hall and Connor are staying in for me for the running back and the flex. I will say that.
I think Connor's coming out for me. Again, Minnesota's got the best run defense in the NFL right now. And where I see Arizona giving Minnesota a lot of trouble is with McBride and their receivers. I don't know if it's Marvin Harrison Jr., though. So Hall is definitely staying in for me, and I know he's been questionable all week, but he's staying in. I'm very intrigued and interested somewhat in putting Brian Thomas Jr. back in with Trevor Lawrence back in. That said, Trevor Lawrence is supposed to be playing at much less than 100% and playing in pain. So I don't understand why the hell he's doing that, but whatever. So Flowers stays in, I think. Who's Baltimore got? Do we know? We should know. At least I should know.
Baltimore plays who do they play? Holy crap, I was just looking at it.
I'm looking right at it. They play Philadelphia, so I don't love that.
Big game. Yeah.
Sheesh. Kevin, this is tough, dude. I want to stay with Breece Hall. I want to stay with Zay Flowers because I think he avoids their two good corners in Deshaun and Slay and all this other stuff in Philly that's gotten better as the years gone on. It's the third one I'm struggling with.
While you're thinking, I'm going to pick the three you picked. James Conner, out of 11 games this year, has only put up single digits twice. He's the last 2 games has got 5 targets each game with over 50 receiving yards. He's being utilized way more in the passing game now than he was kind of earlier in the season. He's on a game of, I think, 5 or 6 in a row with double-digit points. That dude gives you the best floor out of all of these guys by far. I think he'd be my number one wide. I'd put Hall at flex and Connor at running back. That's how, because Hall has been very boomer bust this year. He's gotten a lot of single-digit points this year and been somewhat disappointing for what we expect. I mean, the whole Jets offense has, but I'm going to go with the more consistent players here, and that's going to be Hall, Connor, and Flowers. Marvin Harrison Jr., Brian Thomas Jr. The funny thing is they're probably your best wide receivers, but they're also the most inconsistent right now, which is common for rookies. No big deal. But Flowers might have a good opportunity this week with a potentially that'd be a fun game to watch, which could be very high scoring. So I'm going to stick with that. I want all parts of that, both teams on that game, along with Hall and Connor, who are both utilized out of the backfield a lot as running backs as well. So.
Yeah, I'm gonna slide in there with you. I don't love the Connor piece, but the more you talk and the more I think is he's probably gonna make.
He's quiet this year. He's been he's quietly good, you know.
Yeah, and he's probably gonna do it catching the football versus running the football. Yeah. And let's face it, is anybody going to be surprised if James Conner scores a touchdown? I won't. So I think that's it too. So I do think Hall is going to be solid against Seattle, and I think Flowers could catch 8 to 10 7-yard passes in this one. So, I'll stick with it. I really like Brian Thomas Jr., and I wish Arizona used Marvin Harrison Jr. differently, but they don't. Right now, if I have to win, and we're getting down to week 13, this is probably you can't dick around anymore. So I'm with you guys. I'm going with those 3 as well.
Yeah, Connor. I feel like last year he got a little bit more recognition because he was having more consistent, or he would have that 30-point game here and there where he really isn't doing that this year. He's just getting all them 15, 20 something, maybe low 20s, and that's fine.
He just signed a contract extension too. So
2 years. Yeah.
Interesting how you have Carolina and Arizona being the first two teams to take running backs, and both extended the guys that they have. So it's interesting. Yeah. But we saw Chuba had a pretty big game after his contract, so maybe Connor does the same.
Yeah. Connor has been that guy that his story is awesome and his journey's been awesome. And
it sure is. Yeah.
Yeah. He's been good everywhere he goes. I feel like Pittsburgh made a mistake letting him go.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit more product of offensive line, which Le'Veon Bell showed us when he went to New York. But nonetheless, any dude that beats cancer and does what he's done.
Well, and Ben Roethlisberger also throwing it to the running back 10 times a game all helps. But I think James Conner shows
he's
that
played well. And
I think he's a better runner than Le'Veon. Le'Veon Bell was a great back out of the backfield. I think better than he was a runner. Where I think James Conner's
I got murdered by the Roto-Heat community when I said Le'Veon Bell was the most overrated running back in football when he went to the Jets, and I had him as a mid RB2 that year, and everybody lost their minds. And see, I do get some stuff right.
Yeah, I remember Rick saying Brock Bowers was going to be tight end 1, and I was I'm not fighting that. I probably would put either Laporta or McBride right above him, but I think he comes into the league and does everything we wanted Kyle Pitts to do, and lo and behold, he is.
Yeah, I remember that. So, I remember saying to Rick, "You're nuts," but guess what? He's not. He wasn't.
Yeah.
So
Yo, gents, you gents are the best around. Thank you, Ronald. Should I stick with Disley or get cute and pick up Pitts? So
I think you should have. Yeah, I depends on how shallow your bench is, but I don't want Pitts on my roster. I'm arguably the number 1 Kyle Pitts fan club member, and I'm still wearing those L's. But I don't know, man. I think I'd probably roll. I probably have Pitts ranked higher, but I'll look. You answer this.
I'm going Will Disley. He's been very involved, very active in their offense.
I can't say I blame you.
let me roll with the hot hand. Like, at this point, I think you could roll with hot hands in offenses where Kyle Pitts kind of had a nice little run there for like 3 or 4 weeks where he was like, holy crap, this guy's like a start and you feel comfortable with it. But, he's been kind of inconsistent. As of recent.
Back to back in my rankings. So
I'll go with the hot hand and Will Dissly here. He's been more involved and very heavily used.
I have Pitts one spot higher, but I can't fight yet. I probably would. If it was, it's easy to rank. It's different when you're setting your lineup. I think if I was desperate for tight end points, it'd probably be Dissly because Pitts can get you 30, but he can also get you 2, right? I think Dissly's going to get you a middle of the road 10 to 13 fantasy points, which is in tight end 1 range. So that's probably the play.
And when I look at tight ends, I usually go with a better floor option, which is definitely Will Dissly here. Also, Mooney or Jennings, full PPR. Battle of the wide receiver twos. Battle of the highest valued wide receiver twos in fantasy this year, it seems like.
Yeah, and I think one of them is their wide receiver 1. I think Jennings is their wide receiver 1, but I just don't like today. I'm going to go with Mooney here. I have a few shares of Jennings, and they're all on my bench.
Yeah, I'll go with Mooney as well. Coming off a bye, too, might help. Right? Were they on a bye last week?
I think their bye's coming up. He was hurt. He might have missed last week, but he's back. Like he's not officially in, but he's trending in. So, yeah.
Yeah. Let me see last week, but
where the hell do I have him?
No, last week they were on bye.
Okay.
They had a week 12 bye.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So, coming off the injury, it should be a little bit more refreshed. Usually helps.
Yeah, they're closer to my rankings too. I have Mooney just a little bit higher than Jennings right now. So.
Okay. Now you get to rank a team. Bo Nix. Like it. Josh Jacobs, Brian Robinson. DJ Moore, CD Lamb. Tight end is Taysom Hill. Flex, McConkey, Irving. Sanders, Commanders. It's not bad. I mean, man, you've had a lot of things not go your way. CD Lamb, obviously, value's taking a huge hit with no Dak. Brian Robinson isn't really he might be better now that Austin Eckler is probably going to be out for the year. He's out for the fantasy year, at least, for sure. So that probably actually helps Brian Robinson a little bit. They might keep him in for a little bit more of the passing downs for all I know. I don't think Jeremy McNichols is much better of a pass catching back than Brian Robinson is. I think he was more of like a type of Brian Robinson role.
He's not, but that's where Chris Rodriguez probably gets involved a little bit. But Bo Nix is playing well. You got yourself a top 12 quarterback. Josh Jacobs is seemingly getting all of the work in Green Bay, and they're barely throwing the football. So he's a top 12 running back. Brian Robinson has been okay this year. He's been solid when he's been healthy, but he's been battling a ton of different things all the way along.
Yeah.
But I think he's a top 20-ish running back without Austin Eckler in there. And then DJ Moore and Caleb Williams seem to really kind of solidified their relationship. CeeDee Lamb is kind of struggling. He's hurt. He's got a backup quarterback and an offense going nowhere. Is that Tyreek Hill? Or it's tight end is Taysom. So that's a great spot to be in right now. Like Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara are the only two things that offense has. I love Ladd McConkey. I think Bucky Irving has a ton of upside, and whatever your kicker in your defense. So you're in the playoffs with this team. At least you should be. And I think you can compete. You just need a lot of things to fall your way with those secondary options in offenses like Brian Robinson, Ladd McConkey, Bucky Irving. Like those are the keys to your team in my opinion.
I could see why this team wouldn't be in the playoffs. Josh Jacobs started slow. Brian Robinson's been hurt. DJ Moore had a big streak of being slow. CeeDee Lamb ain't done that. I could see why this team might be fringe playoff for sure. But like right now, this team would be a good competitor. I could just see why your record wouldn't be that great because all these pieces haven't kind of meshed together till recently.
So a little lower on. He's got Roshan Johnson, Rome Odunze, Juwan Jennings, Khalil Shakir, David Njoku on his bench.
I'm putting Jennings in probably.
Is this your starting lineup this week? Are you putting in – well, Roshan and Odunze are out of the question.
Yeah.
Are you putting in Jennings, Shakir for McConkey, Irvin, Moore. You can't take Moore out or Lamb out. So those are locked.
It's really hard. It's really hard to take Bucky Irving out now.
I think it's hard to take a Lab McConkey too. He's been a target hog.
It is. I don't know.
And
I think it's okay to stay with the same.
Playing a joke over Hill? I don't think I do.
No, I'm playing.
I think that's my lineup.
Yeah, probably.
I think that's your lineup, Jose. Good luck, brother. Let us know if you're a playoff team right now. I bet you are.
Yep. Full PPR, play one. Scary Terry, Ridley, or Marvin Harrison Jr.
I got to go with McLaren here.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin for me as well. Kind of easily, I'll be honest. I think they're going to start having to air it out a lot more. He's going to get deep ball shots along with a decent amount of targets as well. So, like in the shorter game, I should say. So,
I really want it to be Marvin Harrison Jr. in a good matchup against Minnesota. For some reason, they just don't use him properly.
Yeah,
I think McBride has a big day though.
Oh yeah, McBride had like 12 targets last week, 10 receptions. He freaking was eaten last week, and
yeah, he's a beast.
He is. He's a really good tight end. If Brock Bowers wasn't going nuclear this year, we'd be talking about Trey McBride as he's easily, like, I think we solidified the number 1 and number 2 dynasty tight ends right now, and it's not even really close.
I think so. And then it really, really, really drops off after that. But those are the two guys for sure for me.
Yeah, who do you even put at number 3?
Probably Laporta,
I guess.
Probably, just because it looks like he's kind of coming back a bit, showing some signs of life. But you can't keep Kittle and Kelsey and Andrews and those guys up there much longer.
Yeah, they're getting old.
Yep.
In redraft, you could put him up there for sure at number 3. But
100%. Yep.
Yeah. All right, standard attack. Standard league scoring Ingram or Goddard. But also, would you guys drop Brooks for Bigsby as a bench piece? Thanks and good luck to all.
Brooks.
I think today I will go, I don't know. No Devontae Smith again, which makes me like Goddard a lot more than I normally do. But, man, Ingram is also kind of a target hog for a tight end, and Trevor Lawrence is back.
Last I saw on Smith is he's trending to play.
Okay, then Evan Ingram for me, for sure.
So that really impacts, like, those guys both cannibalize each other, right? Like, if they're both playing, I don't really want either one of them.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the latest on that, but as of this morning, he was
even then I was probably leaning Ingram, but
I like Ingram with Trevor Lawrence back under center.
Oh yeah, and a team that's more than likely going to be losing it. Like if one of these teams is running the ball in the fourth quarter, I'm going to guess it's the Eagles, significantly more than the Jaguars. So Ingram has that a way higher percentage to get garbage time points, which he has been doing with Mac Jones back there. So
the Eagles game is later this afternoon, so you just got to be a little careful how you're managing your team there, because the Jags, I think, play right out of the gate. They do. They play Houston right out of the gate. So You got to make that decision. I think I'm going to go with Ingram either way. I don't know. I probably am dropping Brooks for Bigsby.
Yeah, especially in a redraft, which is, I imagine, what this is, obviously. There's no way. I just don't see Brooks having value this year. I never did. And
neither one of them catch.
Especially the way Chuba's been playing. Yep.
And it doesn't matter in standard scoring if they catch the ball or not. And this is probably the wrong answer, but I think it's kind of garbage in, garbage out. Like, I don't expect Tank Bigsby to do a whole lot either, but he's probably in a situation where he's going to deliver a lot more than Jonathan Brooks. And I'm with you, Bryce. I didn't think he would do anything this year either.
Yep. Looking ahead, would you drop Thielen or Debo for a hot D? Wow, pause. And good matchups for playoff, like Arizona. My other wide receivers are St. Brown and Ladd, just trying to get a leg up.
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Drop your D for that D then. If you're already in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'd just stream defense at that point. Yep.
I am not, like, okay, if I have to drop somebody, it'd be Thielen over Debo, but I'm not dropping anybody for a defense. In my opinion.
Yeah, not any of these guys. Thielen, I would definitely drop Thielen over Debo, but even then I could see Thielen heating up here late.
Again, you don't have to be good for fantasy. You just have to have opportunity, right?
Right.
Nothing interesting in terms of inactives.
No, I was kind of looking before, but I was trying to finish
DJ
up
Chark is active today. I don't know if that matters to anyone.
Oh, hopefully not.
Alec Pierce is in for Indy.
Jose, no problem. You even have a better morning. Jaws.
Yeah. Jaws, brother.
Get your fill of turkey/loons. I don't know what loons is.
Loons. Maybe it's like loonies for me, the Canadian guy.
I don't know. Can't seem to decide on Baker versus Burrow. I'm not benching Burrow for nothing. So that's my answer.
Jets. Does that matter?
Nope. I don't care.
Does he play the Jets? I think he plays the Jets. Yeah. No, he doesn't.
I think I don't
Sorry,
think
he plays this. He plays the Steelers. My apologies.
Yeah,
I think I have Joe. I got Joe higher. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I just can't bench him. I mean, we saw last week the Buccaneers. I don't think Baker had a passing touchdown, right? I mean, they ran 3. He was one of the rushing touchdowns, but I think they ran 3 touchdowns. So
I do think
that's more likely if you hit the Bengals can't hardly score. It seems like rushing touchdowns unless they're 1 or 2 yards out. They're throwing it all over the field. I just can't bench. I mean, Burrow and Chase right now are if they had a better record, it looks like they would be front runners for MVP, Offensive Player of the Year. But record doesn't matter.
Yeah, he's like the MVP in my opinion. His team's just let him down, right? His defense is crap. If I'm looking at this one matchup to matchup with Burrow playing against Pittsburgh and Baker playing against Carolina, everybody who plays against Carolina other than Daniel Jones has lit him up. So you're going to be fine with Baker. But to Bryce's point, I'm not sitting Joe Burrow. He went into that matchup against the Chargers where everybody was talking about, man, the Chargers are a good defense. They're really good against the pass. And he shredded them. Like the second half, I think he threw for almost 300 yards and 3 just in that half. So any guy who has that talent and those weapons, I'm not sitting him against anyone. That said, Jaws, flip a coin because I think both of these guys, I have one at where I have Burrow at 5 and Baker at 7. So you're in good spot either way here. If you haven't had a trade deadline yet, try to trade one of these guys because that's going to be a headache for you the rest of the way.
For sure. Okay, I played Jacobs on Thursday. I have Robinson Jr. as my number 2 in my lineup and Hubbard at flex. Should I move Hubbard up to number 2 and get McConkey in my lineup?
Interesting. So you're playing with house money a little bit, right? Because Jacobs had a 20 some odd point if PPR scoring wise game. So you're in a good spot there. Brian Robinson Jr. is your number 2, makes a lot of sense. Flex Hubbard, or do you move Hubbard in? So I probably have Hubbard ranked higher than Robinson Jr., but let me look. Hubbard doesn't exactly have.
I think I would. I think I would go with Hubbard at my 2 and McConkey at my flex.
I think so too. I'm just checking. So it's definitely Chuba over B-Rob, but I think I have him higher than McConkey in my flex. So I'd probably go with the running backs. It's a tough call, but I would get Chuba in there over. I guess it doesn't matter if you're flexing Brian Robinson Jr. But I
feel like the one good thing the Titans defense have is a good front defensive line. So I could see Brian Robinson Jr. having a little bit of issues.
I thought you could run on them versus pass on them, but it's been a while since I looked. So
yeah, I don't know. Well, they've also been their top corner has been out for a while. I don't know if he's playing today or not. Ladarius
Sneed. Yeah, I don't either.
But
good call on that.
Let me look here. I have him in a league here, and it looks like he might be. No, he's on IR, so he's not playing. I feel like I just thought that they were a good front 7. Maybe they just got a good pass rush because having a good pass rush doesn't mean you're also a good run defense.
That's true, but they are a good defense. That's the strength of their team. It doesn't say much, but
yeah. I feel like he could have a little bit tough sledding, but if they do get inside the 5-yard line, he is super prone to score over the other options is the problem. So
we're not helping you a ton here, Cody, but I would we're both keeping Chuba in there, but I'm on the running back, he's on Lad, but I think you're in a good spot either way.
Good morning, PPR. Chubb or Thielen? need the ceiling play?
I think the ceiling's
it has to be. Chubb's got tough sledding today. You'd have to get like the same luck that he had that one time where he has 20 carries, 50 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like that's a terrible yards per carry. But he got in the end zone twice, and I'm just not banking on that when I want to get a ceiling play guy. Where Adam Thielen is probably the best wide receiver on his team in a game where they might actually have some success throwing the ball. Carolina, since Bryce Young has gotten back, has actually not been bad.
It pains me to say that he actually looks pretty good.
Sometimes I think you need a reset, and maybe that's what got him. But then again, Anthony Richardson looked good when he came back for that 1 week, and then he goes right back to looking the same. Wouldn't surprise me if we see that from Bryce Young as well. But I feel like the pressure's off of him. Right? There's no pressure on Bryce Young to win right now, which I feel like helps players get wins. So
Jalen Coker's out. I don't know if that makes a big difference. So that funnels a few more targets to Thielen as well. I think honestly, it's Adam Thielen quite easily here. Mm-hmm. I just think Chubb is he just isn't what he was, right? Poor guy's had some pretty catastrophic injuries. He's a little bit older. That team's throwing the ball a little bit more with Jameis versus Watson. So I just think he's in a rough spot, but I would go Thielen. The ceiling for sure is Adam Thielen, in my opinion.
Yep. I agree. Open spot. Which stash and hold do you think gains the most value for playoffs? Tyjae Spears, Ray Davis, A.D. Mitchell. I'll be honest, I don't think any of these guys have much value for you in the playoffs. As of speaking right now, what would have to happen is injury. As long as Anthony Richardson's back there, I don't want any wide receiver for Indianapolis to have value, or I just don't see him having value. I don't mind A.D. Mitchell as a player. I just don't think the quarterback will be able to give him value. So then it comes down to Tyjae Spears and Ray Davis for me, which both of these guys could actually have a decent amount of value if their guys in front of them go down. And I guess I'll just go Ray Davis. I think you're more prone to get injured in the cold. So if one of these guys goes down, I want the one. If I had to pick one of these running backs to go down, and which one would have more value, be Ray Davis for me, because the Bills score a lot of touchdowns. When he did get his opportunities, when James Cook missed a little bit of time, he actually looked pretty good. So I'll just go with Ray Davis, not in the hopes that James Cook goes down, but if he does, I think he gets more value than if Tony Pollard goes down for Tyjae Spears.
Yeah, we're agreement 100% here. Tyjae Spears is okay, but I don't want A.D. Mitchell. Like, he would be a distant third here. Mm-hmm. This one comes down to quarterback, right? Who do I want to have? I want to have the guy that's stepping into a starting role with Josh Allen or Will Levis. So it's easily Ray Davis here. I will say I agree. I don't think any one of these guys is really going to give you much, but that's why we stash guys, because you never really know. Yeah. At this time of year, it makes way more sense to stash running backs than it does wide receivers, because there's just too many options for a wide receiver versus a running back. If James Cook goes down, it's Ray Davis. If Tony Pollard goes down, it's Tyjae Spears. Yeah. If we've already seen Josh Downs go down, he's out today. A.D. Mitchell isn't going to step up, right? Maybe it's Pittman, maybe it's Alec Pierce, maybe it's throwing the ball to the running backs, or there are 14 tight ends that are mediocre.
Pittman's getting shut down today.
Yeah, so
bench Pittman if you got him in your lineup. If you got questions of who to put as your backup, ask it in here. But I just see Christian Gonzalez completely blanketing Pittman today.
Is he okay? I thought he had a bit of a hip injury he was dealing with.
Yeah, well, we said that last week, and then he gets a freaking scoop and score fumble recovery for a touchdown, and he's quietly one of the better. When you're on crappy teams, it's hard to get noticed, but he is one of the better corners in the league. And
does he follow, like, if they move Pittman or if they
move
Pittman
he does.
Okay, so he's screwed then. Okay,
he typically follows when there's a clear cut best option. Like when he plays the Dolphins, he guards a little bit of both, Waddle and Hill. When you have situations like that, but he's on their best wide receiver probably 70% of the game. So
okay,
yeah, yep.
All right, so it's Ray Davis here. Pretty easy for me.
Yeah, and you got to think, like, if Tony Pollard goes down and you have him, you put in Tyjae Spears, you feel okay about it. But if you don't have Tony Pollard and he goes down, it's like, do you really feel comfortable replacing Tyjae Spears in your lineup over maybe another guy? Where maybe Ray Davis, I do feel a little bit more comfortable if it's like a Brian Robinson Jr. and
Totally.
there's no James Cook. I might slide Ray Davis in over him at this point just because. I
don't disagree. I think it's size of league, who your roster is, all those things. But in a vacuum, Davis easy for me.
Yeah. Being a Bears fan is the most frustrating thing in the world. I could see why, but it's really not a bad thing to be losing at this point because it's just going to help your draft capital. And you guys need offensive line just as bad as the Patriots do. So
the frustrating part, and I'm not a Bears fan, but I'm a Vikings fan, and it's equally as frustrating being a Vikings fan the last 60 years. But I will say at least the Bears won a Super Bowl. But the Bears were 4-2, right? And you go all the way back to the Hail Mary game that they absolutely gave away to Washington, followed by the Patriots game where they just didn't show up, followed by this game. Like, this is easily a team that should be competing for the playoffs right now. So I totally get why they're frustrated.
Yeah,
hopefully
probably similar to the
right coach.
Right, probably similar to the Bengals fan base this year. It's like they're this close to literally being their record being flipped.
But it's fun watching Bengals fans freak out.
Oh yeah, it's awesome. Which they at this point should hope they just continue to lose because they also could use some better draft pick options here. Lots of options here. All right, Eric. PPR tight end. It's a tight end premium. Flex 1, Ramondre, Ertz, Hunter Henry, Disley, AD, Mitchell, Vele, MVS.
Forget Mitchell and Vele. Maybe MVS. He's good for at least. He's kind of like Westbrook Akine, right? He's good for one shot a week.
Yeah.
Tight end premium. I might be on Hunter Henry here. I do like Ertz today, too.
Ertz ain't bad either. I'm not benching Ramondre here. I just see he gets 20 touches today. That's the thing.
Hasn't his touch share been kind of dwindling lately?
No, I think he's been actually pretty. I mean, I don't know because when they start losing like real bad, the Patriots do not give their running backs much work in garbage time. Like they bench Ramondre in garbage time for sure.
Is your coach one and done?
No, I don't see why we would do that. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I just don't see him as being.
Yeah, last week got out of hand quick, so Ramondre they had to abandon the run game relatively quickly. I don't see them having to do that this week, so that's why I think Ramondre has some value. When the Patriots are projected to get blown out, that's when I think you can bench Ramondre pretty easily. But when they're playing against the Colts, don't see it being a blowout. Like Ramondre has more value. So
yeah, I have a hard time getting away from Ramondre here as well, looking at my rankings, but
yeah. I don't see how Gerard Mayo gets benched, cut. Like he took over a team that was horrible number 3 pick, and you got quarterback, and your quarterback has gotten better throughout the season. Like Drake May is showing signs of being better and better and better. It just doesn't make sense to me to abandon that after one season when the expectations were low to begin with. I think next year, if they don't get better, then he could be on the chopping block. But even if they become like a middle of the road team that barely misses the playoffs next year, I'm okay with that. But
that's fair.
Drake May's got to be the way he's played. Hopefully, attracts some offseason acquisitions, especially for wide receiver. I think we need to ignore the draft at wide receiver, and we need to get a player we know can produce in the league at this point.
I don't know what the draft looks like in terms of offensive line help, but that's where your first round pick needs to go.
Oh yeah, if it's not a tackle, I'll be very disappointed. We might need 2 of them. I hope we trade back wherever we get. I hope we trade back and get multiple linemen. Either way, that's in the future. But there's a lot of help needed. Our offensive tackles are the worst 2 offensive tackles pair in the league. I think
we'll have
3 penalties in the first 10 snaps last week. So.
Hopefully, we'll have a lot of offseason stuff where we can talk about how shitty your team is.
Yeah, a lot of good running backs. It'll be fun. It'll be fun for the running back draft next year. Wide receivers, there's a couple of guys.
And that's kind of counterintuitive for Dynasty, right? Because you don't usually your rebuilding teams are the ones picking early, and you don't necessarily want running backs. So my early offseason advice is hold those draft picks right to the draft and then trade them for established prospects. That would be what I would do, but that's got a whole offseason for that, brother.
Yep. Pick 3, full PPR. Adams, DK, Mooney, Shakir, Thomas Jr.
Well, I'll just let my rankings decide because I want to get away from Adams, but I think that might be a little crazy.
Crazy thing is he might be my number 1. I just see him getting a minimum of 8 targets today. That's the thing. And I'll take Adams for sure. Adams, Mooney, Adams, Mooney. DK's gonna probably have Sauce Gardner today, or maybe DJ Reed. I don't know.
I'm on Adams, DK, Mooney, the first three.
I think I am too. I don't like DK's matchup this week though, especially if he draws Sauce Gardner. That's bad, and I could really see that. I do see Sauce Gardner on DK. I'll go Adams, Mooney, Shakir. Nope, I'm going to go Adams, Mooney. No, I'm going to Adams, Mooney, DK. Shakir's also got a tough matchup. The one thing the Niners do well is they guard the middle of the field pretty well with those linebackers.
And if weather does anything, that's not going to help him, right? So
yeah,
it might be James Cook's CMC game.
Kincaid's out this week too, though.
He is. It just seems like a game where Josh Allen's just going to say fuck it and run.
He's going to run. Josh Allen's running today for sure. He always runs in big games, and even though weirdly enough the Niners aren't really that good this year.
They're right there though.
Yeah.
Like I know it's
another team. The fan base got to be frustrated.
I know it's AFC versus NFC, but the Niners, like if Arizona loses to Minnesota, which could happen, if Seattle loses to, I think they played the Jets, that could happen.
For sure.
And if San Francisco wins against Buffalo, which is unlikely but could happen, they're tied for the division again. So there's a lot of shit that could go down there, but I just think it's James Cook and Josh Allen just putting that team on their back today.
Yeah, I'll agree. I'll go the first three. Well, let's piggyback off DK then. Currently have Sutton versus Cleveland and over DK versus Sauce, and Flowers versus Philly. Resurging defense, correct or switch out?
I'm not sitting DK Metcalf.
I understand. I'm putting Flowers in over both of them. For me.
Yeah, I'm not putting Sutton in over DK, and I understand Sutton has been on fire, but I just see that eventually is going to cool itself off. I just don't think Cortland Sutton is a top 15-ish wide receiver. I think DK is. Now, DK Metcalf's biggest challenge isn't Sauce Gardner, it's Jackson Smith and Jigba, because that kid is on fire, right? So he's turning into what I think we all thought he was coming out last year. So but again, like I mentioned earlier, I think Flowers could have 6 to 8 catches easy in the middle of the field today. So Flowers would be my 1 here, DK my 2, Sutton my 3.
No, I don't know. I this is crazy. And I'm looking at it. I think I'm going to keep Sutton in. This guy has the past 5 weeks. Targets 10, 8, 9, 10, 11. He's catching 6+ every single time. I mean, he's 15 points is his lowest in the last 5 weeks, and I've been talking about riding the hot hand the whole time. Let's ride the hot hand.
I'm changing my rankings after that.
This is crazy. I didn't realize.
I'm just worried that he's going to. I'm just worried he's going to cool off. But you're right. Let's go with Sutton.
He was inconsistent throughout the beginning of the year. I mean, he started off slow, had 2 weeks.
So did Nix, right?
Yeah.
So did Bo.
Yeah, true. And now him and Bell have kind of like put it together. I'm starting.
Even Vele has been okay in that offense, right? So okay. Never mind, Jaws. Chris is right.
Bo Nix has a very well. I had to look while you were talking. I had to look. So at first glance, it was Flowers to me, but
Flowers is all of a sudden my 3rd ranked guy here. Now that we talked this through, because I would go DK after Sutton.
That's why I'm worried too. I don't know if it's DK versus Sauce today. Sauce seems like he would be a such better matchup against Njigba, where they could then double DK with safety help over top.
Sauce is also not nearly as good as he has been in previous years. He's been very average and pedestrian this year. And it's part and parcel because that team is just getting pounded, right?
Yeah.
That defense is on the field all day long. Reed's been hurt. Carter was hurt. Sauce has been banged up and in and out. I just don't think that defense is at all what it once was. But yes, I think that you've convinced me. I've moved Sutton up in my rankings. He's now ranked ahead of both DK and Flowers, but I would go DK before I went Flowers.
Yeah, I'll agree. Happy PR, Dell or Addison?
Ooh, probably Addison.
Yeah, I'll go with Addison here.
He had a nice game last week.
Yep.
He played
they're just spreading it out more.
Well, yeah, like I said, they're taking JJ away. So
Standard League, start 1, Sam Darnold or Brock Purdy?
Darnold for me.
I will also go Sam Darnold. What's up, Johnny Bear Down?
Johnny to Bear. Sorry about the Bears, if that's what the Bear Down is, which it probably is.
It is. 1 QB, 1 wide receiver, 1 running back, 1 flex. Burrow or Nix? Burrow for me. Metcalf, JSN, Adams. JSN for me. Running back. Irving, Pollard, CMC.
Yeah.
So we got our flex. So our flex options are Irving, Pollard, Metcalf, Adams.
Whew.
Irving. Really hard to choose the right
Pollard, one. Metcalf, Adams. So let's do it easier way. Who are you, Metcalf or Adams?
I think I'm Adams. I'm going to look at his targets.
I'd be DK. And are you Bucky Irving or Tony Pollard?
Yeah, Adams just has too many targets the last 3 weeks. I can't do it. Okay. I would be
Bucky Irving or Tony Pollard?
Yeah, probably Bucky Irving against the Panthers.
I think I would be too. So for me, it's DK or Irving. Holy shit, this is hard.
I'm gonna look at Metcalf's targets real quick. 5 and 8, 5 and 9. They're not bad either. They're not. It's Adams for me.
You're one flex?
Yep. He just gets so many targets. I just can't do it. I can't do it. I like Adams and Garrett Wilson pretty much every
I can't take Adams. I have DK ranked higher. It's Bucky or DK for me. I'm going Bucky Irving, and sorry we're not helping you here, but I love your team.
Yeah. Let's
help him in his second league.
Oh, at least we got 3 of the 4 together. He can be their own tiebreaker. Josh Allen or Jaden Daniels? Josh Allen.
I'm never benching Josh Allen.
Yeah, I could see him running out today.
We're talking about the 3rd and 4th ranked quarterbacks in my rankings, but I'm never sitting Josh Allen unless his arm falls off. And even still, I probably start him over half the league.
Yeah, 2 wide receivers. AJ Brown, Hop. Okay, Hop has already played, so it's got to be AJ Brown, Collins, JSN, Higgins, Evans. Jeez Louise.
Give me Hop, Collins, and JSN.
Wow, I'm taking AJ Brown and Collins.
I got Nico ranked 2 this. Oh, I am taking AJ Brown. Nico is 2 and AJ Brown is 3. So holy hell, this team is crazy.
2 running backs. The running backs: Henry, CMC, Pollard, Kamara, and then 1 flex out of these players. It'd be Henry, CMC, and then Kamara for me. That's going to be my 2 running backs and my flex.
I'm going to go with Henry and Kamara over CMC. I just think the touches are there for sure. Like Kamara's their whole flipping offense, him and Hill, right? So do I get a flex too? Can I take all 3 of them?
Yeah, that's what I did.
So give me those 3 running backs.
Yeah. So AJ Brown, Collins, the 3 running backs, Josh Allen.
Oh my God,
this is unreal. That doesn't seem like
awesome.
A real team.
That's awesome, and I'm glad we helped you on this one.
There are 5 people in that league. What's going on?
Not that you need help.
Yeah. Stroud or Herbert, 6-point passing touchdowns, -3 for interceptions. I have Dell, as stated before.
Herbert by a mile.
Herbert has been playing really well as of lately for fantasy now. He's been kind of just like winning games for this team.
He's been pretty good for football too.
Yeah, he's doing it all. Like he's winning games. Stroud's just been winning games, right? He's not doing anything for fantasy for you.
He's turning the ball over a lot, though.
Yeah,
Stroud is definitely having a sophomore slump. That team is not good now.
Well, you got to think. I was talking about this yesterday with somebody. He has yet to have like a consistent wide receiver cast pretty much this entire season. I mean, he had it for week 1 and part of week 2. Halftime at week 2, I think he lost Nico Collins, right? So then he had Diggs and Dell. Dell was missing a game here and there. And then right before Nico Collins comes back, Stephon Diggs goes out. So it's like, it's hard to probably get a groove going when you got people switching positions and people getting hurt and timing's going to get off like that. I think he's getting hurt from the lack of ability to like get some continuity with consistency at the wide receiver position for him. And we're seeing that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
He's still been shit.
Yeah. But their team's doing well. He's winning games, right? He's kind of Pat Mahomes in it this year, is what I would call
Don't
it.
even get me started on that.
PPR league, James Conner and Nick Chubb. It's James Conner for me.
Miles and miles and miles distance between the 2 of those.
Gosh, I always suck at these ones. TD only league. Start 2. Brian Robinson Jr., Alvin Kamara, James Conner. One wide receiver. Start 1. Debo. Yeah, Kamara. Oh man, I don't know. This is where I have the problem because Brian Robinson Jr. I feel like is just so much more. Like if a team is inside the 5-yard line, which 2 running backs do you think have a better chance to score? For me, it's Brian and Brian Robinson Jr. because I feel like when they're in the 5-yard line, they get
it could be Hill.
Taysom Hill.
That's could be. That's fair. That's fair. But Kamara also has the ability to score from anywhere on the field that the other 2 don't.
He does. He's just been kind of lackluster as of lately for like when it comes to touchdowns. I don't really think he's been scoring touchdowns lately. He hasn't scored. Oh my gosh, look at this. He has not scored a touchdown in 5 weeks. Alvin Kamara has not scored a touchdown in 5 weeks. Yeah. But he ends the season very soft. Like he has got juicy matchups for the fantasy playoffs moving forward here. Like super nice. I'm going James Conner, Brian Robinson Jr.
I am too.
Gross. And I hope I'm wrong. That sounds terrible, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. But I just going with the guy that
I'm Debo because Debo can also score a rushing touchdown.
I am also Debo. Yep.
I don't like these touchdown only leagues.
Yeah, I don't either. It makes my decisions way harder.
I don't want anything to do with this question
because it's not a touchdown. It's not a touchdown only league. Alvin Kamara is my number 1 running back, and then Vlad McConkey is my number 1 wide receiver here. So,
right. So
they're both probably my last running back and my last wide receiver here because Vlad McConkey doesn't really score touchdowns.
Yeah, Dr. Giggles, I'm not laughing. That sucked. Get that out of here. I appreciate your question. I'm just being a dick.
Yeah. Defense wins championships. Plan your starts on who you wouldn't start at all and drop them for a defense. Also look at your opponents in the playoffs.
Do not drop actual fantasy relevant.
Yeah, I mean if you see a player you're never going to start, sure, but it's like don't also give your opponents potential players they might start. That's what I think the second part of this.
I'm a huge believer in looking forward at matchups in the fantasy playoffs and acquiring those defenses. But to Bryce's point, you got to do it for guys that are. I'm not dropping anybody who's going to help my opponent.
Right. So yeah, if you're dropping someone that you know is going to stay there or knows is going to stay on the bench, sure. But
what is a good defense's best week going to be? Like you're going to get these odd 30-point games, but that's few and far between. Yeah. Like 10, 12 points I'm getting out of a defense. I'm not dropping anybody of significance for a defense.
No.
Ever.
I stream them every week. Standard league, start 1 for flex. Juwan Jennings, Tank Bisbee, Khalil Shakur, Javonte Williams.
So here's where I've got a bit of a dilemma. I have a league where it's Pollard, Jennings, or Shakir for me, and I'm going to go with Pollard. But I'd probably go Shakir over Jennings with Kincaid out. So I think that's my answer to this question. Even though it's standard, I think it's my answer.
Yeah, I think with it being standard, that's why I go Juwan Jennings here.
Do you consider Javonte Williams because it's standard?
No, he's so inconsistent. He's like 1 week he might get 15 to 20 touches. The next week he might get 0 to 5. That's bullshit. I'm not that. I hate that. That's why I hate that. I have one league where I have to start him in the super
Sean.
league.
I punched Sean Payton in the face for making Audric Estime the number 1 guy and then not making Andre Estime the number 1 guy. Screwed me in a couple of spots, but whatever.
I think we see the Broncos find a running back this offseason that is going to be their guy. I do think that, whether it's through the draft or free agency, I think we'll see some value. But right now it's not Javonte Williams. I would really like to see him see a change of scenery for sure.
I think it is Javonte Williams. They just got to commit to him, but they're not.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Shakir here. I could make an argument for every guy on this list. Obviously, that's why this is the question. Dr. Giggles, we got to get you in some PPR leagues, my man.
Yeah. Get out of these standard and touchdown only leagues. I will never do I did a standard league once.
I have one standard league. It's awesome. I hate it. It's my oldest league, so I've had it forever.
That's fair.
It's 20-something years old, but it is what it is. I don't even know if half the guys are still alive that are in it, but whatever.
Here's a good question. Surprised we haven't seen him yet. Should I play Judy at a tough matchup against Denver or stick with Jennings?
So I'm kind of thinking about this all week. Like, you got to figure this is a big game for Jerry Judy, right? Like, you got to think Jameson's just going to pound him with targets.
It's a get back game, right? I mean, don't they play the
Yeah,
Broncos?
and he's not going to get why does his name escape me right now? Who's their stud?
Surtain? You don't think he
Surtain.
does?
It's not going to. No, I think he's going to. They'll move. Probably Elijah Moore or somebody like that. I think they move Judy all over the place. Maybe he does get him. I don't know.
I think he does, but I think that they'll try and pepper him through the middle of the field because Judy is probably faster than Surtain, I would imagine.
Here's why I like Jerry Jeudy. Jameis Winston doesn't give a shit if he's open or not. He's going to throw in the ball.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
So Jennings is probably a complementary piece in San Francisco's offense due to situation and weather. Jerry Jeudy could get 12 to 15 targets today, and I wouldn't be surprised if he catches 8 of them. So I'm going to go with Jeudy here.
I'm also going Jeudy. Great points. Thanks. You're welcome. That's what we try.
Always, my man.
PPR need two picks. Okay. Oh, okay. Bo or Kyler, and then Gus Edwards or Devontae Adams.
This one, in all honesty, is pretty easy for me. I'm going to go with Bo over Kyler and Adams over Gus. And I get the question because JK's out, right? But Kamani Vidal might actually be relevant now as well. So Gus looks a little washed to me when I watch him.
I like Gus for today for
me
sure,
too.
But not more than Adams. So it's Adams for me and Bo Nix for me. Who for my flex? Breece Hall, questionable. Breece Hall is now healthy. He's playing.
For your flex?
Yeah. Ramondre, Juwan Jennings, Taysom Hill, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine, or Mooney. My tight end's Kittle. My QB is Baker Mayfield. My running backs are Kyron and Kenneth Walker and Ramondre Stevenson. Okay, so I'm sliding Breece Hall in and putting Ramondre. Oh, wait. My running backs are Kyron and Kenneth Walker and Ramondre Stevenson, but yeah, he put Ramondre as one of the options. Maybe he's got Kyron and Kenneth and then Ramondre in there right now is what I'm reading from this. Because there's no league that starts 3 running backs that I've seen, unless one of them is a flex option. So I am taking Ramondre out and putting Breece Hall in.
100%.
Yeah. Good options.
Very good.
Yeah, it makes sense why Breece is a flex option when you got Kenneth Walker and Kyron in there, to be honest.
I think I have him higher, but yeah.
Yeah, probably, but I could see the debate every week. Non-PPR, Gus Edwards or Ramondre Stevenson? Gus Edwards.
I'm gonna stay on Ramondre here and stay classy, Ron.
Yeah, I got to go Gus. The Patriots, I just don't see if what team here scores 2 to 3 touchdowns rather easily. It's not the Patriots. So, and I'm a Patriots fan. So, Gus Edwards just has a way better opportunity to fall in the end zone today than Ramondre Stevenson. Ramondre is definitely prone to fall into the end zone if they get down there for sure. But what team's going to be down there more?
I'm not there. Like the Chargers have been using Hassan Haskins as their goal line back this year. Vidal's going to be in the offense. They're going to throw a little bit more. I don't know. I don't like either one of these guys, to be totally honest with you. I have Ramondre at about 27 and Gus at 30 in my running back rankings this week. But if I'm picking one over the other, I'm going with Ramondre. You make good points, Bryce. I don't disagree. I think he could easily score.
Yeah.
Gus scored a ton last year with Baltimore.
If this is PPR, it's Ramondre easily, but it's not. So
okay,
because Ramondre could get 3 catches for 20 yards, and that's 5 points. Where 3 catches for 20 yards and non-PPR is only 2. So
it's still 2 points though.
20
yards is 20 yards.
It is, but 3 for 20. That's almost a touchdown, right? That's almost a touchdown in points, and that's why I go Gus here. I mean,
okay.
Yeah.
You're making
Ramondre's going to be good next year. Ramondre's going to be good next year.
Your offense should be much better next year with your quarterback, and once you get a new head coach.
Drake May is the real deal. Should I have Myers as my wide receiver 2 from here on out? My wide receiver 1 is Justin Jefferson. My running back room is Juwan Jennings, Josh Downs, Darnell Mooney, Xavier Worthy, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. Yes. Yep.
Myers is my wide receiver 2. No. I think Jennings is your wide receiver 2.
Yeah, I think you could.
So if they're all healthy, Josh Downs is in that conversation as well, but he's not.
Is.
So it's not Ikhine and it's not Worthy. But I think, Juan, you're playing the matchup game and you're trusting your gut on a week-to-week basis, because some weeks it is going to be Jacoby. He's been excellent lately. Juwan Jennings, as I said earlier today, if you were here, steps up when somebody's out of that lineup, and Brandon Ayuk isn't coming back. And San Francisco's going to have to throw the ball to win games. So there's that. Josh Downs has been incredibly relevant this year, and Mooney's been great. So the only thing that's easy for me here is Justin Jefferson is your wide receiver one, but I think this is a week-to-week basis. I don't think there is a here-on-out guy. It's a good wide receiver room, though, man. Good job.
Josh Allen's going to get 5 TDs. Man's going to play loose. He just got engaged to Haley Steinfeld. Man has won at life. He has no worries this game. I don't know who that is.
She's probably hot. I don't think he's going to score 5, but I wouldn't argue it. I think he's going to go balls out tonight, and I agree. He's going to run, and he's going to run a lot.
Is Josh Allen Jewish?
I don't know, Bryce.
Does
that matter?
Well, I just mentioned a lot of times.
Well, Haley Steinfeld probably is, but
yeah. Well, a lot of times it's not. It's frowned. It's not. I mean, I shouldn't say it's frowned upon, but it's not as common to see people in that religion.
I'm not overly familiar with the Jewish faith, but I understand that it seems to be a little bit more when the man is Jewish and he goes outside. What do they call that? Oh, I know this. Keep talking. I'll figure it out.
I don't know.
Shviksa? Is that what it is?
Yep. Oh, we missed a super chat in here. Sorry.
Oh, I'm looking up Haley. What's her name?
PPR. Sorry, Fusion. I don't know why it doesn't pop up at the top of the screen like it used to. PPR. Stafford, Cousins, or Darnold?
Darnold.
Sam Darnold. Who does Stafford play today? New Orleans?
I don't know.
Stafford for me. Stafford.
Yeah, I like Sam this week. Haley Steinfeld is a nice young lady. You'd recognize her if you saw her. She's an actress slash singer.
It's like, what is she in?
I don't know. You want me to drop her IMDb in the chat?
I'm about to look.
Sorry about missing that super chat. That's supposed to be my job around here. I don't have very many jobs, but and those other 2 are from last week, right?
I don't recognize her. Yeah. The other 2 are gone for me.
You don't recognize her?
Nope, I don't.
She's 27. Isn't that your age?
She's literally born a month after me, December 11th.
Yeah, you guys should be in lockstep. You should know who she is.
Nope, don't know her.
Hang on, let me see what she's doing.
Pitch Perfect is the only movie I'd recognize. I do kind of recognize her from Pitch Perfect, but I don't think she had a big role in that. Garrett Wilson or DK Metcalf? Garrett Wilson.
Pitch Perfect was an oddly good movie.
Yeah, I love all of them.
Garrett Wilson here as well.
People in high school said that I always reminded them of Bumper, the guy that plays Bumper in that.
Oh, yeah?
He's the guy from like a horrible, or not Horrible Bosses. What's that show they did? Oh my gosh, what's the movie? It's him and the long curly hair dude. Workaholics. They always say I remind him of that guy.
That's a good movie.
High school.
It was a show and then they did a movie. I'm a huge Anna Kendrick fan, so I loved the Pitch Perfect movies. And what's her name? What's her name? Rebel Wilson is funny as shit. Yeah. So I'll take those ladies any day.
Anna Kendrick is always in our house because of Trolls. She plays like the main troll in that. So
good stuff. Your daughter's a smart girl.
Yeah, we're on Frozen kick now. Garrett Wilson for me. Was it DK or Garrett for you?
Sorry, I've lost it here. It's Garrett Wilson.
Yes, rather easily. Half PPR, start Ramondre Stevenson for the Colts or Khalil Shakir versus the Niners with possible snow. Doesn't look like it's going to snow too much. It already did, but this is Ramondre for me.
Khalil for me. The half PPR is going to count. He's going to have 6-8 catches. Ramondre's got to get 40 yards rushing to catch up to Khalil's catches.
Fair enough. Andrews or Goddard? Andrews.
Yep.
Who do I start in my flex spot? PPR league. Devontae Adams or Brian Robinson Jr.? It's Devontae Adams for me.
I don't want to do this to Jeffrey because he's such a loyal member of our Facebook community and Roto-Heat guy.
Look at Adams' targets the last 3 weeks and say you can't pick him. That's the only problem. It's hard not to pick him with those targets. He had 2 double-digit weeks and then a 9.
Okay. Now look up his catches.
Okay.
Because targets from one guy and targets from another are not always equal, right?
Right. Let's see here. Adams. So last 3 weeks. So we'll just go with last week. Or I'm sorry, last week was their bye. But the week before that, 7 targets, 6 catches. The week before that was not great. 13 targets, but only 6 catches. And the week before that, 11 targets, 7 catches.
Okay.
22, 9, and 13. So he's averaging like 14, 15 points in the last 3 weeks. It's hard to pick against that for me. For a guy that's kind of Brian Robinson Jr., you could say is touchdown dependent. He is touchdown dependent the way he plays. That's the problem I have with him. If he was involved a little bit in the pass game, which he could be since Austin Eckler's out, he could be. But I want to see it first. That's the problem for me.
I'm very torn here. The Titans are a decent defense. Okay. I'll go with Adams. I do not like it at all, but I will.
I'm benching Adams in one league, but again, that's more of a luxury rather than a necessity.
Another super chat.
Yep. Just came in. Good. You got it. Cool.
Yep.
Ertz or Goddard? Thank you, saying it though.
I'm on Ertz here.
This is Ertz. I did not think Ertz would have nearly as much value as he did this year, but he does.
I'll put a little bit of an asterisk on it. Keep your eye on the active, inactive. So if Devonta Smith is out, I'll probably flip Goddard up over Ertz. But if everybody plays for Philadelphia, I'm going to stick with Ertz because he has been surprisingly effective for that team this season. And Daniels is going to let her rip, quote unquote. So we'll see.
And Johnny did say he had 10 people in that league where his lineup was completely loaded.
Yeah, you insulted him and told him it was a 5-team league. That's a good.
It's not an insult. It's a compliment because
it's a great roster. I don't give a shit how many teams are in your league. So
yeah, it's more of a compliment. If you've accumulated a roster, I would imagine only 6 people were in that league. What's up, guys? Had the great luck of playing Tyreek Hill and Brock Bowers. That's a good start.
Congratulations.
I have a good start. Thoughts on playing Addison over Debo?
100%.
Yeah, I'm playing Addison over Debo no matter what. Yep. Defense matters. Kickers matters. You have people who play names and not matchups or likely game scripts. Sure.
Totally agree with that. Defense does matter. Kickers do matter, but so do quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, and tight ends. So I'm going to prioritize the ones that are the most relevant to my leagues. I can always find a kicker and I can always find a defense.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah. I mean, he follows it up with I draft 2 defenses no matter what each year. I usually also have 2 defenses in my leagues, but I will say, and when I draft, the last 3 rounds in that draft are defense, kicker for me, right? Yep. So I have no problem streaming over the 2 defenses. If they both had terrible matchups, I'll just drop one of them, pick up another one. So there's not been a defense this year. I don't believe there's been a defense this year that has been consistently like dominant in fantasy. Like I know, like last year, the year before, the Cowboys were always.
I'm looking right now, and I think the Vikings are the best defense fantasy wise.
Yeah, there's just been none that have been like they've been streamable.
The Vikings are the number 1 defense in fantasy, averaging 11.5 points a week.
What's like
there's
the number
a
10?
Shit ton of players.
What's the number 10 defense average? What do they average? What do they average?
8.
You're talking about a 3-point
That's my point.
Yeah,
that's my point, right?
Yeah.
Now I don't ever draft 2 defenses, and look, I don't win every league I'm in. I'm not the guy who knows everything about everything, but I will have 2 defenses this time of year, 100%. And this is where I start to look forward down the line and say, oh, look at this. This team is playing a team that's prone to turn the ball over and isn't very good. So I want that defense, right? Like, I do that. But the beautiful thing about fantasy football, and again, this is Rick's birthday, and this is the one thing he taught me more than anything, is play it however the hell you want, right? Like no matter what, it's your team, your entry fee in your league. and you should do whatever you want. And no two things are the same, and nobody's going to agree with you all the time. That's what makes fantasy football fun. If we all agreed on everything, this would be the worst game in the league or the worst game in town. So I'm just not selling out for a defense. I just think that I can find, if I have a handcuff running back on my bench, like we talked about Ray Davis earlier, versus a second defense, and James Cook goes down, way more valuable to me than that. So from an insurance standpoint, I'm going to insulate myself with those players, but I get what you're doing.
Yeah.
Rant over.
Usually, I the first thing I do if I'm in a league with kickers is I ask if we can take those out in NFLX. That's the first thing I do.
So Scott Fishbowl has kickers the last couple of years, and my wife and I play in it, and she is this like unhealthy kicker obsession. Like she'll have 2 or 3 on her roster all the time, and she has 2 good ones, right? Like she'll have this year she had Butker and Tucker, and I was like, just pick a kicker. Like, but there's different platforms for the Fishbowl. Like some are on Sleeper, some are on MFL. MFL you can play up to 6 or 7 kickers, and we're on Sleeper, and she's pissed because she only could play 1 each week. But that's a whole other kicker thing altogether.
Yeah,
she'd be awesome in a kicker only league. She'd win it every year.
Yeah, I couldn't even name 5 of them. I don't think.
I can't either, and I rank him every week. I just push guys over the guys.
Yeah. Does Trevor Lawrence scare you off the Texans D? And would you drop rest of season against Week 15, Miami Week 16, Kansas City, Baltimore Week 17? Might commit to Tampa Bay defense rest of season Week 14, Las Vegas Week 16, Dallas Week 17, Carolina. Yeah, I definitely would. I would definitely rather have the Texans or the Tampa Bay defense rest of season over the Texans defense. If the Texans defense, I feel like, haven't been as proficient at pass rushing as we thought they'd be this year. So their sack upside to me has gone down. That's what I look at when I look at defenses. I'm only in like one defensive league, and I just look at who's got the best opportunity for sacks, because sacks happen more often in a game than picks, right? And they're usually worth the same amount of points. Obviously, picks are more likely to go for 6 than a sack is, a sack fumble or whatever. But the sacks also can become fumbles into fumble recoveries, which can escalate into 2 to 4 points as well. So I look at that like, okay, Vegas, their offensive lines, Dallas's offensive line has been really bad this year compared to normal. And then Carolina's offensive line has been bad against as well. Or those other teams, their offensive line have been pretty well. Their quarterbacks are harder to sack. Pat Mahomes finds ways out. Lamar's not easy to sack.
The only one I like is I do like the Texans against the Dolphins in Week 15, because that offensive line is not very good, and Tua is getting sacked quite a bit.
Right.
That said, I don't like the KC one, and I sure don't like the Baltimore one. And this would be a situation here, Pedro, if you can carry 2 defenses. First of all, Trevor Lawrence does not scare me off with the Texans defense. Trevor Lawrence is prone to turn the ball over. He's not 100%. I don't think he's going to get sacked a lot, but he could. The Texans have had their best 2 weeks defensively, the last 2 weeks, putting up 19 points in both of those games. On the season, they're averaging 8 points. Just looking at it because that was this last question. They put up 8.9 points per game. Tampa Bay's defense has been pretty trashy this year, dealing with a ton of injuries. They average 6 points a game, but what they average at this point in the season, nobody really cares about, right? It's the matchup. So I guess the answer is he doesn't scare me off. So who does Tampa Bay play this week? Like, are we talking dropping the Texans to pick up the Bucs right now? They play Carolina, right? Do they play Carolina this week?
Who?
Tampa. Who do they play?
Tampa does, yes.
So they got Carolina twice, right?
Correct.
I might do that because I don't mind Week 14 against Vegas or Dallas, and you get Carolina twice. I'd probably do that.
Fair enough. If you have 2 tight ends and your opponent have Kittle, Kelsey, Bowers, McBride, I promise you they're not picking up your tight end. Same with QB, load up on stuff. I mean, sure, you're just talking about one other team, though. I mean, more than one team makes the playoffs, right? So
tell me who
your opponents. I mean, sure, maybe. But.
So if I'm in a 12-team league, there's 8 other teams. It's quite possible that the Kittle, Kelsey, Bowers, McBride team aren't playoff teams, so they're not picking it up anyway. So I might be sitting in there dropping a tight end for a team that has Andrews, who's been crazily inconsistent, or Dallas Goedert, who's been inconsistent. Like, I get it, dude. Like, if you want to rock and roll with 2 or 10 defenses, knock your socks off. But at the end of the day, the consensus is going to be to hold on to your handcuffs and do what you got. Like, I don't need to fight with you. Like, you do what you want. It's your league.
I would rather stash. I'd rather stash 2 tight ends than 2 defenses any day
100%
of the week. It's just like you could use the exact opposite for defense. Like, oh, so you have 2 defenses and your opponents have this defense, this defense. Like, they're probably not going to pick up the one you're going to drop, right? So it goes both ways. I mean, I just don't.
You're gonna pick up.
I usually load 2 defenses as well, just as mainly because I'm sometimes too lazy to look at them and stream them. Like, I stream them last minute half the time anyway, and it's worked out for me. Defenses just don't put up enough points on a consistent basis to really make a huge difference, even the ones you stream. I've been doing pretty well at streaming them all season long. So if you get them on the waiver, like, that's just all that matters. Like I said, there's just none that have been like, there's just not been a dominant defense this year. So they're just worth streaming.
Go to your waiver wire in any league right now and try to find a running back. Go to your league and your waiver wire and try to find a defense. It ain't hard.
Yeah, exactly. I like more of the quarterback situation. That's where I would be more likely to run thin at. If I've got a quarterback, especially like now where maybe his bye week's already gone, like, and I'm never going to start him. Normally at this point in the season, like, you're not dropping a good enough quarterback for someone to pick up and start anyway. People, especially in 1 quarterback leagues, are easily finding a top quarterback to start every week, no matter what. So I'd be more likely to run thin at that position than I would be at a skill position like a flex worthy position like tight end, wide receiver, running back. Those are ones I'll hold on to. There's more injuries in those positions, it seems like, nowadays anyway. So I would run thin at quarterback before I run thin at any other position group other than defense. So I'll rock with 1 quarterback all season long. Drop my number 2 defense to pick up my bye week fill in, and then then go right back to picking up my 2 defenses and rolling with those the rest of the season and streaming it. So.
Like I said, run your teams and manage them how you like, right? There's no right or wrong answers here. I just fundamentally completely disagree with you. That's all.
Yeah. Well, I would agree to get out of leagues with defenses, tell me how to flex player. It's way more fun. Nobody like watching a team like, oh, I can't wait to watch this team go on defense. Like, that sucks. It's so boring.
Unless you're in an IDP league, which I don't understand. But
even then, I'm in an IDP league, and I don't think I've watched my guy play one of my IDP players play once. Horrible. Need one. Dell, Shakir, or QJ? Shakir for me on this one.
Me too. Pretty easy for me on that one.
Yep. Good morning, gents. Morning. Full PPR, start 2. It's actually afternoon for me now. Full PPR, start 2 at running back and 1 at the flex. Chuba, Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb, Jalen Warren. You kind of pooped on Aaron Jones last week. You kind of did. Well, he did pretty good.
He did. He's no Amir Abdullah, but he had a pretty good week. I'm on. This is
here. But we need a flex.
I'm flexing Warren. I think I'm sitting Chuba. Or sitting Chubb. Sorry.
Nah, I will flex
Denver?
Nick Chubb here. I'll flex Nick Chubb here. Yeah, just because he could fall into the end zone. Jalen. I'll take the guy that's on the field a lot more. That's
valid, but Warren's catching passes, so. Full PPR, I'm taking Jalen Warren over Nick Chubb. I'm going to go with Chuba, Jones, and Warren, and I'm not going to fight you too hard that you would put Chubb in over Warren. I think that's reasonable.
I think we both saw this, right? No, he's not.
I don't think he was really stable without him. He just got a shit ton of volume.
I think he meant to say startable.
Startable? Okay, yeah. He's certainly not. And the only reason he was is because he got so much volume. But that said, Pacheco was far from good, but it was also his first game back. Like, I think Pacheco had 40 some odd yards rushing, and 34 of them came on 1 carry. And they both had 1 catch for 5 yards, I believe. But Isaiah Pacheco was light years ahead of Kareem Hunt at this stage of both of their careers. So I think once he gets his footing back, he's going to be just fine. I don't think he'll be the lion's share workhorse that he was before he got hurt. But Kareem Hunt's not the answer as long as Pacheco's in that lineup.
Yep. 2 questions for you guys. Full PPR, Stevenson or Najee, and either Drake May or Purdy.
I will go Najee and I will go Drake May.
I will go Stevenson and then Drake May.
Nice.
Taysom Hill or Kittle?
This is stupid, but I actually have Taysom Hill ranked higher. And I get it. I just think it's stupid, but it is what it is. Like, Taysom Hill can throw, run, catch. He does it all. It's a pain in the ass, but it can happen.
Yep. It's Taysom. This is insane. It's Taysom Hill for me.
This could be a pretty big blocking week for George Kittle as well.
Yeah. Yep.
Especially if Trent Williams doesn't play for San Francisco. I know that Bosa's not playing on the defensive side. I don't know about Trent Williams. If he doesn't play, then Kittle needs to block.
We're both wearing white Under Armour hoodies. What are the odds of that?
Team colors? I don't know.
Oh, yours is a t-shirt. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I can't afford it.
Yeah. This is like 4 years old. Probably got it for Christmas. I didn't buy it myself.
Actually, I probably have more hoodies than any other article of clothing. I have a shit ton.
I need more. I need more. That's what I need.
Did we miss any active inactives or anything like that?
I don't think anything major. Nope. I saw Breece Hall's active. I knew that was like a question early in the week for people. But this is, that's it. We're caught up. Sweet. Staying busy still. We'll continue. I mean, next week is probably gonna be a big week because it's the last week till fantasy playoffs for most. So we'll probably continue to start at 11. But I think the week after that, fantasy playoffs, we can probably cut it down to starting at like maybe 11:30, 12. Because I doubt we get too many questions. We'll probably lose a lot of questions from people like that. Dyson gets back in here. Who should I pick off my waivers for a potential league winner? Braylon Allen, Tyler Algier, Abdullah, Akers, Corum, Estime. League winner is a stretch here. None.
I think the first two could be not league winners, but very relevant, right? If Breece Hall goes down, we've seen Braylon Allen be good. And if Bijan goes down, Tyler Algier at stages in the season has been good, even with Bijan in the lineup. Abdullah is Bryce's BFF. He had a hell of a game last week, but who knows?
I said he'd get all those catches.
Cam Akers is Cam Akers. Corum has been whatever, and Estime is Estime. So I don't think any of them are league winners. I think they should probably all be rostered. If you have 5 or 6 bench spots, probably all of them should be on a roster because they all do have a path to being fantasy relevant. I don't think any of them have a path to being a league winner, but it'd be Braden Allen. I'd probably have Tyler Algier as my 1 and Braden Allen as my 2 on this list.
Yeah. You look at what got Amir Abdullah's gotten the opportunity to be the number 1. He's not going to be able to produce enough to help you win leagues or even be comfortable as a playoff start. So bam, he's out. Corum, it comes to me of like, if the starting running back goes down, which of these guys have the most value? And for me, it's Braylon Allen, Tyler Algier, and Blake Corum. And which of those running backs are going to get maybe a little bit of PPR work along with a decent amount of rushing attempts? For me, it goes Braylon Allen number 1, Tyler Algier number 2, Blake Corum number 3. So that's what it would go for me. Yeah, because if Breece goes down, I think Braylon Allen goes in there and gets the exact role Breece has. Not going to do as well, but he's going to get a lot of targets is what I see.
Same as Algier, right?
Yeah. I don't think Algier sees as many targets. I feel like.
Yeah, that's fair. Because
doesn't
Bijan gets like 6 to 8 a game, right?
His are inconsistent. That's the problem with him. So that's why I like with Braylon Allen, where it seems like Breece is consistently getting a decent amount of targets each week. So thank you, Pedro. That's so nice. How nice of you.
Nice. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Cody. Good. And then we'll answer this question. We'll head out of here. Last one, Devontae Smith or Juwan Jennings?
Let the actives make this decision for you, because I think if Devonta Smith is in, I'm going to put him in over Jennings just based on the situation of the day and the fact that it's a Sunday night game. I'm not going to dick around. If Smith is in for the Eagles, I'm going to put him in and hope for the best.
I am too, just because I want all parts of that game today.
Yeah, that could be a good one.
Yeah.
What time is that? Early or afternoon?
I think it's 4 o'clock. It's probably game of the week.
Perfect. My wife's in trouble this week because I'm not going to leave the couch.
Game of the week, week 4. Yeah, absolutely. All righty, guys. Thank you so much. We will see you next week.
Thanks, everybody.
Next week, I do have to leave early. No, I don't. I can't remember. I have to leave early either next week or the week after. So one of them I have to leave early. Next tattoo appointment. So
there you go. Love it.
That's what I like to see.
Nothing but love
right.
here. Awesome. Good luck in week 13. We'll see you week 14, whether it's me and Bryce or just me or portions of me or whatever. We'll be back. So we'll see you then.
Adios.